How big can I get my heart to be?
Thought Media Network proudly presents
How much love can I get flowing out of me?
The Real Talk Sisters. Deep, unfiltered, soulful conversations with Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley, Reverend Kim Andrews, and Reverend Melinda Wood Allen.
How big can I get my heart to be?
Join us for Real Talk on Real Issues. Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Central, 1 o'clock Mountain. And now, let's join the Real Talk Sisters.
How big can I get my heart to be?
Hello.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you.
Oh,
Good to see you.
see y'all too. Always.
Yes.
No, we were talking about the faces of love this week, and there you are.
Look at this.
There you are.
Exactly. There you are. Always.
Absolutely, yes.
Always. I love this topic.
Welcome to any of you who are joining us this afternoon. We're really, really glad to have you. And I am Reverend Melinda Wood Allen from the Church of One Love in Dallas, Texas.
And I am Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley from Harmony Spiritual Center in Fort Worth.
And I am Reverend Kim Andrews from Unity Spiritual Center in Saxe, Texas.
Lovely.
Welcome. Welcome, everyone.
And we are here, yes, to talk about the faces of love,
Yeah.
which could be interpreted a number of ways. Like you said, like you said, the faces here, the people we recognize, the people we love. And I know with the two of you, sometimes just laying eyes on you or hearing your voices
Yes.
chill me out automatically. I feel loved automatically. I feel your love even when I'm not seeing you, because I know of our, I feel our connection and our relationship.
Yeah.
And so, yes, this is the three of us we are faces of love for each other.
We are.
Always. I woke up, I always wake up early, but wake up early one morning, and I think it was Sunday morning, I can't really remember, and had this topic of love, faces of love in my mind, and I texted the two of them, and I said, "What do you guys think?" And this is kind of what I'm thinking. And Kim responded right away. She goes, "I was just thinking about that last night, looking over some things, whatever it was you were looking over. But this is clearly a time." And then Melinda texted back, and she just had all these little love symbols on her message. And she immediately said, "Well, you guys are the faces. What do you mean?" And so it's clearly a topic that we all hold very dearly, and it's right here in our hearts, and just right here with us all the time. Love. So when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about what love looks like coming from me to the different people in my life. So what does love look like for those people? Like, how do I show up as love for them? How you all show up as love for me? I remember going through a difficult time with the divorce of my long-term relationship, and I would call you guys, and sometimes I didn't have anything to say. I just was crying, just on the phone, just crying. And you didn't say anything. I knew you were there, and then I'd hang up. That was it. And you guys were there for that, for whatever I needed, hugs and all that. So it has a lot of different faces, and I really wanted to talk about how it shows up for us and how we show up for it.
Yeah. So there are the people that are the faces, and then there are the different ways that love expresses.
Exactly.
So we got both of those things going.
Yeah, so much. So it's just amazing.
I talked to someone yesterday. We had a really long conversation about spirituality, manifesting, moving through these periods where there's something we want and we're trying to call it into our lives, and calling some parts of that failure because the manifestation hasn't happened yet. We talked about all of that. And
man, it's a great conversation.
It was a wonderful conversation. Yeah. It really lifted both of us up.
Beautiful.
In that. But she was talking about her parents have both passed away, and she said she sees her father's face from time to time, but she has not seen her mother's face. Her mother passed away in 2019, and so that's a huge grieving for her not to have seen her mother's face yet. So we did talk about that for a while, but it was, now that we're talking about the faces of love, so her mother's certainly is for her. And she was sharing with me that she has a doctor she's been seeing for about 20 years. And he asked her, is her body grieving?
It's a great question.
Is your body grieving?
That's a great question.
Stopped her in her tracks for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And she said, that's quite possible. And so we talked about that for a little while. And I think with the faces of love, I think faces, again, could have many textures, many ways to interpret that. And I think for me, with people who have transitioned, I experience them differently.
Absolutely.
So like my mother-in-law seems to always show up when I'm in the kitchen and I hear her voice, or I feel her, because she and I spent time in her kitchen and in mine. That's where those conversations happened.
Yeah.
Where we laughed and we cried together and all this, prayed together. And my father, I hear in my head, that's the face of love for him. I hear him speaking to me. I hear his voice, his intonation, everything. So I can call him up in my mind's eye and see his mannerisms and everything else. And my mother is different. I feel her and experience her when I'm doing things that she would do, like sitting in the backyard early morning, listen to the birds and just having some quiet time, or using music as a way to connect with spirit. And she often did that. And so I feel her presence. It's almost like she's sharing those moments with me. And so that's my face of love for her. And so one of the things I shared with her is that possibly if she's fixated on seeing a visual face, she may be missing some other experience of her mother if she's showing up in a different way.
Right. Excellent.
And I said, I do believe she's there for you.
Yeah.
Because you were so close. So I believe she's there, but maybe she's showing up as something that you haven't experienced yet because you're here.
Yeah. The expectation.
One thing.
Yes.
I have the same thing. My dad is in my head all the time. He's like a ESPN commentator. He's always like, oh, you look like a monkey with a greasy football if I drop something, If I'm cooking, it's like, you're not using that knife right. And it's funny and I love it. And it's like a visit. And it happens constantly.
Yeah.
And my mother and my dad was one of the most fraught relationships in my life,
Mine too.
Challenging.
Yeah, mine too. Daughters and fathers.
My relationship with my mother wasn't so hard. It really wasn't. I always talked to her. I always confided in her. I always trusted her. There was never really a time when I didn't. The last 9 years of her life, she had dementia. And so I lost her really a long time before I lost her. But I don't have those visits from my mother in the same way that I have those visits from my father. Now, I lost him in 2012 and her in 2021. So it hasn't been as long. And I think it took a while for my dad's voice to show up as fun rather than pain,
Yeah. Yes.
But I also recognize that because my mother and I were so close, I embody myself a lot of who she was and how she approached the world and how she loved her children. And my relationship with my daughter, I think, has a lot to do with my relationship with my mother. She calls me early in the morning in the same way that I used to call my mom early in the morning. And, for not judgment, for somebody to really listen to me. So it shows up in that way. It's inside me. It's not like I hear a voice of my dad that's like, not me. I mean, he is there commentating, but maybe I've just integrated my mother's love at a deeper level than my dad's. Just a thought.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Everybody that comes back to me, everyone. I mean, it's like everybody that's been in my life. Even my first husband, my dad, my brother. My brother, not as much. because we didn't know each other that well. I was older, and then he went on. He was a street person, so he was off in the streets early in my life, so I didn't know him that well. But they come to me in memory, in memories of them, and us just sitting there talking. So I just sit there and talk with my sister, older sister, all the time. I just see her mannerisms and just the way that she would talk to me or talk about something or share something with me. And her love was so strong. My mom's love was so strong. My mom comes to me as a spirit. She's just a spiritual self. I feel her all the time. I always did feel her that way. So yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. I can't even. It's hard to even describe.
Yeah.
What it is, but I know what it is. And part of the conversation for me, as I'm thinking about what the faces of love look like, it's how I show up, because I really believe that unconditional love for everyone is so important. And I am a human being, and I have ego, and I have things where I think things should be happening one way as opposed to another way. So trying to get past all of that and look and see the individual, that face of love that's in front of me, and love them for exactly who they are in this moment, not who they are all the time, just who they are in this moment. Love. And so just being able to see the face of the love that's in front of me, that's part of the journey, right, for me, the spiritual journey, to be able to see love in everything that I see. So that's and I had quite an experience this morning that was not love like. I probably won't share that here, but I will share that with you guys a little bit later. It was quite interesting, and just to be able to let go of the human side of me and see what needs to be seen.
And seeing the love in the way that you're talking about means seeing the deepest truth of a person.
That is correct.
Not the way
exactly what I'm saying.
In your face that this moment, perhaps, not
Correct.
the human self, but the deepest truth of the person.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes. And I know that truth is always there. And I'm looking to touch it. I'm looking to see it and touch it in all of my experiences. And some are easier than others.
Yeah.
To see.
And sometimes I have to go, okay, God, I just don't
show me some.
But I trust that you see it. So I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to pretend. Okay. I'm going to act as if I can really see that, because I know it's there. I do trust it's there, even if I can't see it. If I can't see it, that's the fault of my eyes, not the fault of what I'm looking at.
Not at all. And I know, and it's not the fault of the truth, because the truth is truth.
Yeah.
The truth is truth. And so the other part of the love, and that part for me, is to continue to love myself, even though I haven't shown up the way I wanted to. You know what I mean? So I think we're the worst critics of ourselves. Oh, yeah. And even as we are saying and doing and being and working on and practicing all the things that we want to be and show up as, to love ourselves through the times when we don't actually do it. And we just show up as the human beings we actually are in this moment. So that face of love, that I can love myself through not being perfect, which is pretty much all the time.
I had an experience just this morning. I went to an Al-Anon meeting, and it's a meeting that I had been going to for, 20, I don't know. Okay. First time I went to it was in 1984.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And I started going really regularly in about 1997. And so I haven't been going lately because I don't live in town anymore. Haven't been going to that meeting. And so I had an appointment in town. So I decided I'm going to go to the Tuesday meeting today.
Beautiful.
And I walked in, and it was just so immediately apparent to me. And it always is when I go to a meeting, that this is a place of love, period. Mm-hmm. It just is. Mm-hmm. And there were faces that I recognized and I've known for 20 years or more who were happy to see me. And there were faces that I'm like, this is my meeting. Where'd you come from? You know,
I do know.
completely new.
I do know.
Completely new.
Yes.
Quite a few that were completely new. And yet, the way that program is set up, the way that people engage with it, is that it is a place of love. You come in there, that means we share something. We share something deep and difficult.
Something real. Yeah.
And real. And we're all, and we share the fact that we're working through that we want to do it a different way.
Yes, the desire is there.
Immediately, all in 100% support of each other, whether we've ever met or not before.
Beautiful.
So that is a face of love. You walk into a 12-step room, you are seeing faces of love. If you don't see them, that's about your eyes. It's not about what's really going on.
Right.
What's going on is a whole lot of love. A whole lot of love.
Yeah.
So,
This is beautiful. Lovely. Thanks for sharing that.
You know, as our roles shift with people in our lives, then a different face of love presents itself.
Yes.
And as Pjae was texting us Sunday, and I was thinking of things, I thought of as my parents got older and I stepped into their lives to take over things for them, and I was helping them with so many more things in their lives up until they transitioned. So I specifically remember the afternoon that I was home in New Jersey with my parents, and my father needed to be bathed. And I bathed him head to toe. He was sitting on the bed and had a wash pan and everything else. And it probably took about 45 minutes or so, but it was just such a spiritual, sacred, loving experience for both of us.
Yeah.
Both of us. There was no awkwardness. He fully opened up to me and accepted that I was there to care for him. I was just floored that he would let me do that.
Right.
And was open to that. And he sorely needed it. And, that was part of the shift with my mother and I that got toxic and negative after that point, and was pretty painful. But for my father and I, it deepened our relationship in such a way that was just miraculous. It's miraculous. So after that, when we had no words, that's how amazing that experience was. We just kind of looked at us, and both of us are teary-eyed.
Yeah.
Nothing but love for that 45 minutes. It was just incredible. When my mother had her stroke and then ended up in the hospital, and then she died 6 weeks later, that for me as her medical advocate was a different face of love for the two of us, having to make decisions for her, trusting her trusting me, being able to speak to each other because she could not communicate for probably 4 of those 6 weeks, but still communicating in a way that had nothing to do with words.
Right.
I remember the look on her face when I brushed her hair, and you could just see her relax, and the stress would come off of her face. And it was just a simple thing, but powerful for her. When I sang to her, it was wonderful, and it was an experience. When, I watched her having the last rites with the Catholic priest, and how the only person she tracked through the room, the only person her eyes responded to was that Catholic priest, and of course my husband, who she loved dearly. She never tracked me in the room. Interesting. The only time she spoke in those 4 weeks when she did not speak is when I said, "Quentin's coming." And she woke up and said, "Oh, Quentin's coming?"
Thanks, Mom. I got it.
Thanks. Yes. So glad I'm here every day, 12 hours a day. Never looked at me, never said a word. She came over once a week maybe, and she was just like up looking at him, smiling. I thought, oh my God. She
Love
was
it.
certainly a face of love for her.
There you go. Oh my God.
Maybe I haven't gotten completely over it because I'm still talking.
I don't, yeah, there seems to be a little bit of work there. Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit.
But at least I'm laughing.
Yes.
Then it was
Yes.
kind of like, what? WTF?
So we can see that the topic, someone in the thing, in the parent seat said, what's the topic? And the topic is the faces of love. And so we're just talking about how love shows up, what it looks like, all kinds of ideas about what the faces of love is. And so it's about 20 after. We might want to just go into a quick
Let's take a
commercial
break.
break and be right back. Perfect. All right.
Here we are, back again.
We are back. We are back. We are back.
Faces
We're
of
talking
love.
faces of love, the faces of love, and how love shows up and what it looks like and what we look like, and so many ways in which to approach this topic. Yeah.
So I was thinking,
Go ahead.
I went to Unity Village week before last and was there for a week doing the Empower Music and Arts Festival, which is basically a conference. There's a music festival, but there's a lot of workshops and teaching that goes on. So I was facilitating workshops. I was directing a choir. I was performing on the stage several times during the week. And I had thought that I might not be able to go. I had to cancel last year because of my husband's health. And so I was really hoping I could go this year. And partly because I didn't really trust him to be alone and be okay without me, I just hauled him with me this time. And I'm not really sure how he would respond. Sometimes he gets bored with what I do. Oh, it's more of that music stuff. But he had such a good time. He was just among people, and everybody was really accepting of him being there. There were a handful of people, maybe a double handful of people that he knew in the past. Musician friends of mine that we've known each other for 20 years. And of course, they come stay at my house and they know Bob, because once you know Bob, you know Bob.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So, but just the way that love showed up for him, I knew it was going to show up for me. I know I love these people.
Yes.
I'm there. I know what the experience is like. I wasn't completely sure how it was going to show up for him. And it showed up so beautifully.
Yes.
And, just with people who knew him and people who'd never met him before. When I talked about him coming along and said, is it okay? Sue Riley, one of the founding members of Empower, said, hey, I'm going to put him at the greeters table and he's going to be our ambassador. Because who better?
Who doesn't love Bob? Yeah.
So
who won't love Bob? Yeah.
Shoved him behind the desk and said, you're here to greet everybody as they come in. And he loved it. And he got to know people. And
beautiful.
And that just simple, loving, complete acceptance of who he was and where he was in his health journey, how he was able to show up. And I felt loved because of the way they loved him.
Yes, exactly.
And I remember my many, many years ago before I married Bob, I met him when my daughter was 19 months old. I divorced her father when she was 5 months old. So I met Bob at 19 months old. I married him when she was 4. And I remember talking to my mother about, I'm going to marry this guy. And she said, I don't need to know anything else about him. I know everything I need to know by the way he treats you and the way he treats Aaron. He is Aaron's daddy, not her father, but her daddy, and has been really since she was 20 months old. And my mother, I just remember her saying, I don't need to know another thing about him. I see how he treats you. I see how he treats Aaron. And that is more than enough for me. And it was a gift for me to hear my mother say that, you know?
Yeah.
It
I do. Yeah, exactly. This is the thing about love. It's boundless. It just knows no bounds. And you wonder whether Bob would be how it would work. But you just said that it's a loving place, that everybody in there, and particularly when you're doing what you love, around people who do what they love, there's love all around. And so in that atmosphere, it's boundless, it's transformational. So it just transforms how everyone feels about each other. It's inclusive. And so there's no one's left out, because there's love in the room. So I'll step into a place, it's Harmony, cool church. I step into your church, Kim, and it's just there's love in the room, and no one who steps in those, everyone that I know of who steps into those places, they walk away, or they walk in, and their comments are, oh my God, I felt so loved. That's what it is. It's boundless. It's not contained in any one thing or one person. It's in the room.
That's like love as welcome. That's one of the faces of love, is open-hearted welcome.
It's open and welcome. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that feeling of love is its face, I think, because you can say the words.
Yes.
But if you don't feel that love, the words can be hollow.
Exactly correct.
And, if you have somebody saying, well, I love you, right? And you go,
not really. Do you?
If you have to
not feeling the love.
Or I love you, but.
No buts. Exactly.
Yeah. It depends on how they say that. I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I love you, but there's it's a big butt coming, and that's a big butt.
It's big old butt.
A big old butt.
Mama got a big old butt. Yeah,
it's because that's there's an Alanis Morissette song where she just the whole song, all the verses are, I'll give you outright acceptance. I will hold whatever you're going through. I will hold it. Whatever, even if it's against, even if you leave me, even if you never speak to me again, I'll honor that. I'll support it. I'll respect it. I'll love it. And then at the end, she said, this is the only kind of love, as I understand it, that there really is.
It's real. That's,
and we talk about unconditional love. Unconditional love is love, period. And everything else that's not unconditional
is not love.
Really,
real love. It's not real love.
It's a lot of other things.
It's a lot of other things. It's a lot of other things, but I can't call it love. And I was at an office today, trying to do something, trying to get a service. I was quite aggravated. I feel like there's something in the air. Seriously, there's a lot of aggravation going on for me and just around me today. But I just had a gentleman tell me, he said, there's really just no, I'm not going to give you the circumstances, but he said, there's just really no reason for you to be doing to behave the way you're doing. And I said, oh, no reason at all. So you know me, you know the situation, and you know what's going on, right? So you can judge what's happening here.
In your whole history.
And your whole, you know who I am, all of that, and you feel free to judge. And he said no, and then he said, what did he say? Have a blessed day. And I said, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that, because that's not what you mean. And he said, so you're telling me who I am? What I'm about, who I am? And I said, no, I don't know who you are. I know what you mean, though, when you say that. That wasn't actually trying to make sure that I have a great day. That was a judgment. We said it as if it was a judgment. And that's why we can say whether love is unconditional or not, because if there's any judging whatsoever going on, anything that's not a full, wholehearted acceptance of where you are and what you are doing, and maybe not what you are doing, but who you are, no matter what you are doing, it's not love.
Yeah. I would say it's not a pure expression of love. It's tainted with a lot of other stuff.
It just is.
Yeah.
It just is. And when it's not, when it's completely pure, as you say it is, that's transformational. That's when it breaks through anything else that's going on, anything else that people feel. That's felt. That real love is felt.
Yeah.
When you give it, when you express it. That's that face of that. The feeling of that is known, no matter who they are or what they are, animal, vegetable, whatever, doesn't make any difference. That's felt. That's known.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking
Think of
about.
dogs. They don't speak at all.
That's what I'm talking about at all. Dogs, cats, animals of all kinds. They can say nothing, but they know when they're being loved. And when they're giving love, we know it. We feel it. We feel it.
Emerson said, "Who you are speaks so loudly that I can't hear your words."
I can't hear your words. That's such a great saying. It's exactly, and that's exactly it. And so people think that we want to believe that that our words are everything, but our words are nothing without what's actually the feeling behind your words is what comes through. And so if we're working on, and again, this is just about the work that I'm doing, that I believe we're doing, to try to show up as love, as the face of love for everyone that we encounter. That is my hope. And when I fail to do that, I have to love myself for the human person that I am and not showing up the way I wanted to show up. And better luck next time. I'll try it again. I'll keep trying. That's what this is about.
Yeah. My taking what I called an emergency Sunday a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Take that off.
Yes.
That was it. That
Yes.
was the face of love, because I needed to love my face. My face. Well, I did.
Yeah, your face too. Yeah.
My face too, because I was having difficulty showing up as love.
Exactly. So you knew something's not right.
And I know I was showing up as tired and cranky and
right.
And I knew I was short with people, but it's all I had. So that was my signal. Oh, I can't come back next Sunday. I need to be out of here. I got to take care of me so that I can show up the way that I want to show up as the true me.
As you, exactly. As
Not
you.
the tired me, not the overwhelmed me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hence your sabbatical, Melinda. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was about March. I just hit a wall. It's like I'm not completely burned out, but my output is enormous at this moment. Mm-hmm. And emotionally, I am threadbare. Right. And if I don't arrange to get some input and to stop the output for a while, enough to actually fill up again,
yes. Keep filling up,
then I will be burnt out. And I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And, so often people wait until they're burnt out to take an action. And then, I was talking to another minister recently who said, he said so often his experience, he's been in ministry 45 years. His experience of talking with ministers on sabbatical is that they'll come back from sabbatical and go, I don't want to do this anymore. And that is because they waited too long to take this sabbatical. They waited until they didn't love it anymore. And then, 6 weeks or 2 months or 3 months or a year is not enough. To fill you back up if you've gotten to where you don't love it anymore, perhaps. Right. But if you stop, well, like Kim, whoa, I know who I want to show up as, and I know that right now I don't have it in my tank to show up as that. So better go get some in my tank, or quit showing up, or both.
Yes.
And so you do that, and then you're free to come back and allow your love to express freely without having to keep a tight grip on it, lest something else come out of your mouth, or whatever.
Yeah. Because I would think every person that kind of showed, I was like, oh, I got to go smile again.
Oh, here it goes. Somebody wanted to love me, want me to love them. Go.
Oh,
What is it? There's something that you both say that love is that what is it? No, it's not anger. It's something. Is it anger? Is it hate? Something is a call for love.
Yeah,
Or
if it's not love, it's a call for love.
if it's not love, it's a call for
It's a
love.
call for
Exactly, exactly. And so I, in order for us, this is the work that we're doing, the work that we've signed up for, which I
Yes.
think is it's heart's work. This is what we want to do.
And we take it very
It's
seriously.
very seriously that we first do no harm. I feel like we have that motto as well. First do no harm. I don't want to harm you. I'm only here to love you. If I can't do that, it's because I'm calling out for love.
mhm.
I've gotten not empty, because I won't allow that, but
No.
it's gotten low. And so the ability to pour out has to come from a full well, not an empty well. So constantly filling our well with love from each other, from wherever the love comes from, our families, wherever it comes from, so that we can then do the same. And that's, I think, part of what our work is, to pour into other people love so they can do the same.
Yes.
How can they love if they're not feeling loved? And so that's the work, is to and we can't say what they're going to feel or what they don't feel, but we can certainly pour out into them and do our part. And so that's a part of. So this is the face of love, pouring out love to others, even if you don't know them, you know that they're worthy of love.
That a call for love could be that the other person shows up as not loving at all.
Exactly.
And that comes from hurt. That comes from pain.
Yes.
That comes from lack. That comes from fear. And because I've known hurt, pain, lack, and fear, I know what that feels like. Then I can give you love, because I know that love is the only antidote for any of those things.
Exactly.
Sometimes the person is showing up just however they show up, and the love's not coming from me, like you just said. And I'm like, whoa. Then the love that's being called for here is I need to do something really practical to love myself. And so love shows up as practice, and as very practical.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Love shows up as, I'm hungry, I need to eat. I need to go to the bathroom.
Tired.
I'm tired. It's time to rest. I need to put my feet up. That's love. And somebody coming up to you and saying, honey, here's a sandwich. Sometimes that is the most loving act there can be. Sometimes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's a sandwich. Have a seat. Have a seat.
As our mother says in her broken Spanish, Saturday. Love her. Love that.
As my dad said in his broken German, was ist los?
Was los?
The woman who organizes just masterfully our potlucks every month always makes a plate for me. And if she watches me, because she knows I'm talking to people, I'm kind of working the room, things like that. And at some point she'll say, Kim, here's your plate, come sit. And I just feel golden. Talk about, oh my gosh. Because I know she's been watching me, and she said, okay, enough of that.
Yeah.
Here's your plate, come sit. What do you want to drink?
That's exactly what Bob does for me.
Yeah.
At potluck. He'll go, I made your plate. It's time to sit down now.
Sit down.
It's time to sit down now. What do you want to drink? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she'll say you, or sometimes she just, you, over here.
I was at a church for several years that, because I was always talking, by the time I got there was nothing left. There was like a little bit of that, Jell-O stuff on the bottom that you had to scrape off the bottom of a bowl, and, maybe a chicken wing, and that'd be all that was left. So, Bob goes in there, he makes me a plate and him a plate. And then he decides when it's been enough, it's enough time. And he'll go, enough time. I'm gonna sit down.
There you go. And that's the face of love. That is the face of love. Exactly.
I love it that lady does that for you. That's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
You know, and I know that I'm not I'm not filled. My pitcher, bowl, barrel, whatever, body, whatever is getting low is when that bothers me. When you know it's oh, the food's gone and nobody thought about me.
What am I, chopped liver?
What am I, chopped liver? Exactly. And so I don't need to feel that. I don't wish to feel that way. It doesn't matter. They don't need. It doesn't. And
Even
so when
if
I
there's
feel
nothing
that
left,
way,
you want to feel that way. Yeah.
exactly. I don't want to. So that's another clue for me when I'm starting to feel sorry for myself. Oops, I need a little break. I need a little bit of places where I could go and just get filled. So let's come back to
Time
that.
for a break.
Yeah, take a little bit of break and we'll come on back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
How was
Back
your break?
How was the break?
Funky and short. Funky music and short.
I took a
And
big
had a little.
water. That was a face
I-
of love for me.
Thank you. I took a drink myself. My mouth was getting a little dry. A little dry. Yeah.
During the break, I pulled out a reading I did this past Sunday at my center from the book Sabbath, one of my favorite books, Finding Rest, Renewal, and Delight in Our Busy Lives by Wayne Muller. And this is one of the excerpts from The Joy of Rest. Jesus did not wait until everyone had been properly cared for, until all who sought him were healed. He did not ask permission to go, nor did he leave anyone behind on call, or even let his disciples know where he was going. Jesus obeyed a deeper rhythm. When the moment for rest had come, the time for healing was over, he would simply stop, retire to a quiet place and pray. Sometimes he would take the disciples with him. Come away to a deserted place all by yourselves and rest for a while, he would tell them. He did not wait until they had completed all their work. He invited them to rest in the middle of their busyness, when they had no leisure even to eat. Come with me, he said, let us go and rest and pray. One translation of the biblical phrase to pray is to come to rest. When Jesus prayed, he was at rest, nourished by the healing spirit that saturates those still, quiet places. In the Jesus tradition, prayer can be a practice of simply being in the presence of God, allowing the mind to rest in the heart. This can help us begin to understand one aspect of Sabbath time, a period of repose, when the mind settles gently in the heart.
Mm. What is the name of the book?
Sabbath.
Okay,
I just ordered it on Amazon right that second. I just clicked it on my phone and went, I need that book.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
beautifully written, often
Yeah.
poetic, deals with different religious traditions, spiritual practice about rest and renewal,
Love
and
it.
carving out time for ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that Jesus had this way of loving himself and others, because yes, as we come back rested, then we are that face of love for others. We have
Yes.
the energy.
Yes.
We are reminded of who and what we are.
Yes.
And we can just allow that to flow. We don't have to work at it. We don't have to be challenged. You don't have to run in and say, oh my God, I got to work up a smile for the next person. We don't have to do all that, because it's just radiating off of us.
Exactly.
And we're reminded of who we are. And so I love that. I figured if Jesus needed it.
Okay. Hello. That should be mandatory reading for all ministers. That is I love that.
Beautiful book.
Yeah. I
No,
love it.
The story of Mary and Martha with Jesus and how.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
that. Exactly.
Because I've been, who was the one that was bathing his feet and the other one was getting mad? Was Martha the one?
Mary
Martha
Magdalene.
was getting mad. I think Martha was getting mad.
Yeah,
Martha was
I'm Martha.
angry.
I'm Martha.
Okay.
I'm going,
Okay.
this is what needs to be done. And everybody who's not doing it is way too selfish. And how's it going to get done if I don't do it? And I'm going to go do. I mean, I have played Martha. I played Martha in my family. That was my role, middle child, peacemaker. Get her done. You know, do everything right, so that you don't make waves. Sort of. I've been Martha, and Martha sometimes looks like a badass. It's like, oh, look at what Martha's doing, but Martha is stewing. Martha is mad. Martha is martyring herself and resenting everybody who's
calling for love,
or at least very superior to everyone who's not, you know. And you know, and the lesson is that Mary said, you know, no, what's most important here is my relationship with Spirit. I'm gonna nurture that, and then we'll get done. And Martha, if you don't do it, then we'll all get up and we'll do it together, or we'll go out to eat.
We'll send out something.
Yeah, we'll do DoorDash, whatever.
It'll work. Exactly. We'll have Jesus get some fish or something.
I'm not telling you have to do it. I'm just saying that right now,
I'm not going to.
I'm nurturing Spirit. That's the most important thing to me in this moment.
Exactly.
And I think Jesus even say, "Woman, talk to the hand.
Yeah.
Let her oil my feet. This is important for her, and it's important for me."
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm paraphrasing. He didn't.
He did.
Yeah.
That's
No,
basically
he did.
they don't
That's
also
basically
do
what he did.
yeah.
And I think and I think the message for me when I hear that is knowing what is important. What was important was to hear these words, to know the truth. And this man, the dishes, are you kidding me right now? They'll always be there. The dust is always going to be there to sweep up. But this man coming through, this angel, to share with us truth, how long is that going to be here? I need to grab all of that up. And so she realized how important it was. For me, this is what love is like, to recognize what it really looks like and how important it really is for all of us to have love and to be love for ourselves and others. If we don't know anything else, if we know that, that's enough. I believe it's enough, because I think it powers everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Every time we gathered at my grandmother's house for meals, and she had a tiny house, and she had 2 tables, they'd be full. There'd be card tables up. There'd be folding tables back in the bedrooms to get us all in there. Right.
Excellent.
And so we're talking, 30, 35 people, and the dishes from 30 or 30. We didn't do paper plates.
Right. No.
Dishes for all those people. And when the dinner was over, we would help. But at a certain point, she would say, no, sit down. The dishes will be here tomorrow, but you won't.
Yeah.
Right. And when people would say, but I just want to help, she'd say, listen, if the world doesn't end tomorrow, then the dishes can be done tomorrow. And if the world ends tomorrow, why are you going to spend your last day doing dishes?
Who cares? Exactly. I love it.
Pretty
exactly.
good.
What's important right in this moment?
Right now.
In this moment, what's important? And I think that's the lesson that I learned from that Mary Martha tale with Jesus, to just try to discern in every moment what's important here. What's important to do, to know, to be. What's important. And for me, it's always however love shines through, whatever that looks like. It's that powers my thinking.
And maybe if Martha had been preparing the meal with nothing but love, I am going to feed my Lord. I'm going to feed.
Exactly. It's been a different experience.
Here. This is my expression of love for these people. It wasn't that Mary necessarily made a better choice, but Mary made a choice that was concerned with love. Right. And Martha made a choice of, we got to get this stuff done, and nobody apparently is going to do it but me. Right. And I know that that's what she was doing, because that's what I've done so many times in my life.
She was probably kneading bread.
This is doing it, so I guess it's me. Yeah.
She was kneading bread,
throwing it over, punching it, and fussing.
Yeah. And I was asked, and I used to live a lot of my life like that. And I would be asked, who asked you to?
Yeah.
Well, I saw that it needed to be done. Okay, well, then you decided to do it. If you decided to do it, then,
just what are you upset about?
Oh,
Then
man.
undecide. If you need
Love,
to,
if you're going to do it with love. If you can't do it with love, don't
don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah,
Mhm.
just leave it. Leave it. Because if you're doing it for that reason, then you're doing it thinking that you know what other people want. And nobody knows that. What everybody wants is to be loved, whether they know that or not.
Whether they
when
know
love,
that or not.
whether they know it or not. But when love shows up, they'll recognize it and feel it.
Yeah.
That's it. So if you know that, that's it then. And I loved your point. If she had been doing the cooking and the cleaning and all that with love, then there would have been nothing for her to concern herself with.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. So
Yeah, I think the face of love often shows up as the one who's willing to be tough love in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Love
love
is
is
willing to say,
sometimes
"Who
tough
asked
to
it?"
deliver. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Oh man. I don't really like to have people confront me and be tough with me, but boy, do I need it sometimes. I need somebody to say, so you're complaining about how tired you are. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing that? Who told you you had to do that?
Right.
So you're making yourself tired. This is your choice. And
I love it.
nowadays, I can show up as tough love for myself. I can tell myself, look at what you're doing. You chose to do this. No one has got a gun to your back. You're choosing to do this. So you can choose to do it and do it with love and grace, or you can choose not to do it, or you can choose to do it and bitch about it the whole time. Those are all your choices.
All the choices.
All the
choices. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think so. And part of it, what you were talking about, Linda, who is Linda? Melinda is just getting clear about the actions you take. Because a lot of us take many times, and I'm trying to, that's part of the journey for me, is to not automate, not just be automatic, other than just loving people, but not just do things automatically. This is what I've always done. This is how it's supposed to be. Who said that?
Yeah.
How do we know? Why is it supposed to be anything other than what we want it to be in this moment?
So much of the time we're responding to possibly others' expectations of us, because if I don't have dinner on the table at 7, they're going to be upset. Well, their being upset is their deal.
How is that your issue?
It's not my issue.
Yeah.
How is it your issue? Yeah. So back to loving self.
Unless
your issue
being forced,
Right. Yeah.
All right. Before we I can't believe we're getting close to our ending now. But I wanted to talk about, our pets, our fur babies are definitely faces of love for us, aren't they?
Oh my God.
Aren't they? And, that's why it's so, one of the reasons why it's so heartbreaking when we have to let one go.
Yes.
Because they are this unconditional love, because they can be upset or scared in one moment, and the very next second, be an unconditional love.
They just don't hold on to it, whatever
hold
it is.
on
At all.
Mm-mm.
At all.
Glad to see you. Even if you were a jerk.
Cats don't care, but
dogs, yes.
Cats not so much. They show it in a different way. They show up in a different way.
That's all. They show up in a different way.
Yeah, but I had my my granddogs with me for the week, because my kids were in Colorado and they on vacation and whatnot. I can't even, the love that those two, just all over me, just laying there, just laying on me, just, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? What are we doing today? It's like, oh my God, just so much love, just climbing up in the bed, like, what's going on here? What are you doing? And just always, people asked me before, because Spike was pretty old, would I get another animal, after Spike passed away? No, I don't believe I will. And of course, that was then, and who knows what will happen in the future. I can't speak to the future. I can speak to right now. And no, I'm not, because I do have so many other animals in my life. I don't need to have, and there's so much love that I get from them, that we get. Even my granddogs, I was talking to my neighbors, because they were gone when my dogs were here, and when they came back, and I said, oh, Mabel and Ollie were here. Oh my God, we missed Mabel and Ollie. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that's some unconditional love. And for everyone that's around them, they don't even say, unless they think someone's going to harm you. They know that. They seem to know that when there's a different soul force in the room. They know that. But other than that, just on it. Just on it. And they're unconditional and unreserved. Unreserved.
Well, cats sometimes keep things in reserve. They're like,
they're a little
you
reserved.
deserve this much.
Okay, that's the love they can give.
That's the love they can give. That's the love they can give. No, my cats love me. They don't show it the way dogs do. They show it.
They don't. That's all. They just show it differently,
Right.
but they're definitely there.
They have their own brand, I think.
Yes, and they're like, I'm allowing you to take care of me. What else do you want?
This is the love. What are you saying? I'm letting you love me.
Hey, I'm soft. I'm fluffy. And on the days that I allow you to pet me, you get a lot
It's good, isn't it? It's good, isn't it? And if you have something crazy on your face, I'll lick it off for you.
Yeah.
So this is.
You know what, though? I have had a lot of orthopedic surgeries. I've had trouble with my knees, and I had 4 surgeries on them before I finally had replacements in both of them. So 6 knee surgeries over a period of about 4 years.
Really?
Or 5 years. Yeah. And somehow, every time I had a knee surgery, I had a cat who stayed with me every minute. But Bob, taking pictures of me in recovery, sleeping on the recliner, and there's a cat on me. Every single picture, there's a cat
Amazing.
on me. And I remember waking up in my drugged stupor and going, oh, Dudley, oh, Benny, oh, there were a bunch of different ones, Lewis, there a bunch of different cats, but they showed up. They showed up in a beautiful way.
Beautiful. So love shows up, the face of love in our animals, and our friends, and our family.
Mhm.
It's everywhere.
In ourselves. Yeah.
In ourselves. Yeah, in ourselves. So we got about a minute? Like a minute.
Yeah.
Don't have much time.
Final thoughts, quickly.
Yeah. Just love is just, it's all around. It's in everything we look at. If it shows up when you're looking for it, it shows up when you're not. It just shows up.
And if it shows up, or if it seems like it's failing to show up, then you're the one who needs to give the love.
Just look again
to yourself or someone else.
Correct.
The
look
love
again.
called for is your love,
Right.
and that's an honor and a privilege to be able to give it to someone else or to myself.
Correct.
Yeah, I echo that because, as viewed, so appeared. So if we radiate love and we are being love in the world, 99.9%, we will see love coming back.
Yeah.
We will.
So you're right. When we're not seeing it or feeling it, we need to check in with ourselves
Right. Yeah.
and do that. So
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Zoe, our wonderful producer.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Our email is realtalksisters@gmail.com. Our website is realtalksisters.com. Look at him. He is on the money.
He's on it.
Yes. Beautiful.
Best
Y'all
producer
think
in the
so,
world.
'cause we wouldn't be here without him.
That's right.
Thank
Make
you
sure
all for
you
being here as well.
Look on New Thought Media Network for his show that is on Saturdays once a month. You got to look out.
So it is.
And so it is. That's
So it is.
look for him on Saturdays at noon, I think it is, right?
Yes. I think it's the first Saturday. First Saturdays at noon.
So thanks everybody for being here. This was wonderful. Be the face of love in the world. That's our work.
That's it.
That is our work.
That's all there is.
And scene.
Scene.
Namaste.